air, gold bells shining, they all dare. Tougher, fists held high, warriors fight till the night says die. FWE, where battles divine, every broken bone all by design. Chained to the thrill, they let it be. This ain't a game, it's FWE. FWE, where battles define, every broken bone all by design. Chained to the thrill, they let it be. This ain't a game, it's FWE.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Fantasy Wrestling Entertainment. Off the heels of an exciting Infinity War Games PLE, the inmates are running the asylum, but we now push forward towards the next PLE at Royal Brawl. I'm Seth Cole. I'm alongside of still the Wayfinder Cruiser Champion Jack Mitchell. And Jack, War Games did not disappoint, but now the question is, does the family have the stranglehold on the company?
You can make a really strong argument that they do, Seth. It's going to be crazy to see what they've got in store for the next few weeks as we get the build going towards the Royal Brawl.
And a lot of fallout as well, as we saw Ariel put the Hardcore Championship on the line in a fatal five-way, lost the title to Wonder Woman. Tonight, she invokes her title rematch. And of course, Ariel, Wonder Woman, a number of women on the FW roster, as likewise a number of men, including yourself, going to be taking part in a few weeks' time in the one-night PLE known as the Fairly Odd Partners Challenge Tournament. Mixed match challenge rules, basically 16 teams, only one at the end of the night. It's going to be the overall power couple, if you will. That should be interesting, and an opportunity here tonight, win, lose, or draw for Ariel or Wonder Woman to build some momentum towards that night.
It really can be. I mean, it's a tournament, so it's a very long grind. Again, like you mentioned, 16 teams are in it. It'll be fun.
You heard our ring announcer, Mike Rowe, announced that this is an extreme rules match, so no countouts, no disqualifications, weaponry can come into play. It's a hardcore championship, so, you know, hardcore rules make sense.
Absolutely, and we saw the absolutely insane, I think it was a fatal five-way match at Infinity War Games, where Wonder Woman was able to take that title.
Of course, in a fatal five-way as well, there's no count-out to disqualifications, so kind of similar rules here, albeit a 1v1. And, you know, Ariel was able to shock everybody, won the Hardcore Championship from two-time former Hardcore Champion, the current Women's World Champion of the Galaxy, that being Elizabeth Swan. I'll wait for Mike Rowe to introduce here.
And her opponent, from Valhalla, the Women's Hardcore Champion, Wonder Woman!
But going back to Ariel being able to capture and retain in a rematch the Hardcore Championship from Elizabeth Swan, she's obviously no slouch, but you can definitely see the physical strength advantage goes to Wonder Woman. Does an extreme rules type match help Ariel to kind of even the playing field now?
I think so. You know, you have weapons added to the equation. There's no countouts, no DQ. Anything can happen. Anybody can, you know, it can be a little bit more chaotic than normal matches. Oh, rings are underway.
One of three title matches that we're going to have here tonight. Two of them based off of the fallout of qualifying matches in a way, if you will. We ended up seeing Hercules end up winning that monstrous fatal four-way backstage brawl at Infinity War Games that makes him the #1 contender here tonight in our main event. as he will take on Gaston for the United States Championship. And we saw RJ Bishop successful in that one-on-one open challenge match against Kronk. So he and Nick Gunther, Vicious and Delicious, they get a shot at the tag team titles here tonight against Kronk and Cusco.
And of course, our third match of the night. This is one I'm looking forward to too. A bit of, you know, some talk about the family going on, as they were not too pleased with the Joker and the Penguin for the way that the advantage match, Ninja Turtles, went down right before War Games. So we'll fill you in on more context there, but definitely the family looking to continue to assert their dominance.
And we talked about this fight for the Women's Hardcore Championship, and we name-dropped Elizabeth Swann, the current Women's World Champion of the Galaxy. She's in action later on tonight, as she'll be taking on Elastigirl. Elastigirl's first one-on-one matchup here in FWE, and who knows, if Elastigirl can pull out a victory, we may be looking at a potential #1 contender for the Women's World Championship. But Elizabeth Swann looking to continue her momentum, as here's the toys. Whoa, gracious, duck!
Oh my goodness. We had one of them get dropped onto a table. Now there are ladders flying everywhere. As now trash can being thrown into the ring.
Let me just check off fearing for my life, ladder aimed at my head on the bingo card. I didn't expect that was going to be checked off tonight. As cover here by Ariel, kick out at 1 by the champ.
Sounded like that was a literal kick out. It looked like one of those knees maybe connected with the head of Ariel's. There's another cover attempt. Another kick out at 2.
Need to remember as well, Wonder Woman is a former Women's World Champion. She only held the title for about 10 minutes before she was cashed in on by Elizabeth Swann back at Sugar Rush's. Sweet gracious, big clothesline there.
Oh my goodness.
Sledgehammer goes flying.
Ariel did not even get a chance to use that sledgehammer.
Now the fight here on the outside. Again, would this favor Ariel, or do you think that being on the outside of the ring is maybe favoring the champion a little more? The weaponry, as we said, probably helps Ariel level the playing field, but I don't think you want to be outside here if you're the challenger.
I mean, there are no countouts, so this is obviously going in Wonder Woman's favor as Ariel gets tossed right into the steel steps.
And you saw right there that graphic. On July 10th is the Fairly Odd Partners Challenge PLE. Both of these women going to be involved in that tournament. Number of others as well. 16 teams going to be vying for the Fairly Odd Partners Championship, if you will. There's no physical titles or anything like that, no title belts, but definitely something that you can put on your resume, and it's only taking place once a year, one night only.
It's bragging rights. It's a good resume piece. I can tell you that firsthand when I took on Thanos in that Iron Man match. So anything helps.
Oh! Splash by Wonder Woman, but gotta wonder there, did she get all of it because she hit half of her body hit that trash can?
She's going up for another one though. This time the trash can's out of the way.
Oh!
And Ariel gets up in time. Nobody is home.
Went to the well a little, once too often, I guess, as Bulldog there, springboard Bulldog by Ariel, looking to get her title back. Here's the cover. Kick out at 1.
A tough battle, one-on-one. It's a whole lot different than a Fatal 5-Way like we saw last time out. Of course, in the Fatal 5-Way, people will be rushing to break up the pin. Ariel had no interest in being in the ring while Wonder Woman had that steel chair.
Of course, a Fatal 5-Way as well. Ariel was at a huge disadvantage because she wasn't involved in the pinfall or submission that lost her the championship title. Now here in a one-on-one, a little bit more of a champion's advantage for Wonder Woman coming in as the defending title holder.
Big boot to the head.
Might be looking for the Mermaid Splash. If she hits it, we're going to have a new champion. There it is. Cover is in. Ariel to be a 2-time hardcore champ. Oh, and Wonder Woman got the shoulder up.
Wonder Woman not going to be put away so easily. Oh. Not sure what that was, but she got up quick, and now a big clothesline to the head. Looking to fight back.
Back body drop, now looking for the spine buster in the center of the ring. Wonder Woman now might be looking for the Amazon bomb. Cover is in to retain the title. And Wonder Woman is still the champ.
Good fight put up by Ariel, but that Amazon bomb just way too powerful.
Women's Hardcore Champion, Wonder
Wonder
Woman.
Woman retains the title she gained at Infinity War Games. To your point, great fight put up by Ariel, but the champ stands tall. Up next, speaking of champion, the Women's World Champ is in action against Elastigirl as FWE rolls on. Back here to FWE as in-ring debut in a one-on-one matchup here for Helen Parr.
Making her way to the ring, representing the tough guys from the internet, Helen Parr.
Better known in the superhero world as Elastigirl, a member of the Incredibles. And it's an interesting thing here, Jack, because this was kind of a thing that was basically pitched by the world champion Elizabeth Swann, and the fact that, you know, there really is no clear #1 contender. So she threw out the idea with us having 5 weeks of episodic television. Of course, we've got the week off as well for the Fairly Odd Partners PLE before we even get to Royal Brawl. Put her in one-on-one matchups with some open challenges, see if somebody's able to take her to the limit, maybe get a pinfall submission victory over her, and then maybe we're looking at a #1 contender by the time we get around to Royal Brawl.
Yeah, that's the thing about, it's kind of an open challenge in a sense, although it wasn't directly, you saw the challenger coming out first here, but it's not what we're typically used to seeing in an open challenge, but this is essentially the closest thing that we'll have to one for a little while. Of course, you got those 5 weeks between now and the Royal Brawl.
And representing the crew from Kingston, Jamaica, the Women's Universal Champion, Elizabeth Turner.
And you mentioned the words open challenge. That's exactly what Elizabeth Swann did 1 week ago at Infinity War Games, had an open challenge for the Women's World Championship, was answered by a debuting Shuri, who really took the fight to Elizabeth Swann. Came up just short, though. Elizabeth Swann now has held this title for about a month, ever since the PLE prior to that at Sugar Rush, when she cashed in her women's Money in the Bank briefcase.
I think that says a lot about the confidence of Elizabeth Swann as well. 2 open challenges so far.
We haven't yet gotten the list compiled, like the bracket compiled, but we do know that Elizabeth Swann and Elastigirl both, they're going to be taking part in that Fairly Odd Partners PLE. They're both going to be teaming with their husband counterparts, Elizabeth Swann with Will Turner, of course Elastigirl with Mr. Incredible. Who knows? When the thing's compiled, these two may be facing off again in a couple of weeks' time.
It could happen. Of course, the title not on the line in this one, but definitely some implications that could come out of this matchup.
So for Elastigirl, an opportunity here to maybe put herself in the conversation for #1 contender. For Elizabeth Swann, an opportunity to keep her momentum rolling, show why she is at the top of the food chain as the Women's World Champion.
It was already a big boot to the head to start the matchup. I'm going to work in the corner.
One thing that we saw Swann, going back to that matchup against Shuri 1 week ago, is the fact that she's really good at pacing herself. We saw Shuri come out swinging in the early going of that matchup, but when we got into about the second half, it was when the champion was able to gain the advantage. We see here kind of almost the same thing. Mrs. Incredible really quick with the offense out of the gate, but then Elizabeth Swann able to find just those little mistakes, those little chinks in the armor to be able to turn the momentum in her favor.
Sometimes that's what you need to win a match that may look tough on paper.
Standing Spanish fly, and now Elizabeth up top, going for the splash. Does not go for a
Not
cover,
gonna go for the
however.
cover.
That's surprising.
He's still trying to work on a few weaknesses here.
Cover
Now
here.
she does, but there's the rope break called.
Yeah, that left foot was underneath the bottom rope. Good eyes there by our referee, Ernest Wright. Maybe a rare mistake there by the champ, who's gonna fly clear the deck.
Oh! I don't know if she got all of that, but it was enough to put Elastigirl on the ground.
Oh, and then Elastigirl bouncing right here off of the cover in our announce desk. Now looking for the Celine Del Sol, which she'll hit on the outside on the floor. Referee at a count of
Countouts are
3. Again,
legal.
you said it's a non-title match, so there's no championship jeopardy, but could be a count-out victory. Is nice interception there by Elastigirl, taking Elizabeth off the top rope.
Elastigirl trying to find the momentum, but there's an immediate counter by Swann. Goes for the springboard.
It's the Bulldog center of the ring, springboard moonsault to the blower back. Cover in on
Shoulders
Elastigirl.
down. Kick out.
Elastigirl able to get that right shoulder up. Now the champion, Irish whip, looking for the Pirate's plunge. And that's gonna have to do it. Elizabeth Swann continues to roll on here in FWE as she'll put Elastigirl away.
Elizabeth Swann showing why she's the champion. Again, good fight put up by Elastigirl, but at the end of the day, the champion is on top for a reason.
So the question remains, who's going to rise to the challenge? Who's going to take the fight to the champion Elizabeth Swann to maybe have a title shot by the time we get to Royal Brawl? As of right now, all challengers have been turned back from Shuri now to Elastigirl. The question will be, who's next? We'll probably find out the next challenger next week as Elizabeth Swann continues to show why she is the Women's World Champ. Up next, a grudge match, tag team action on FWE. Welcome you back here to FWE, and get used to the sound of the balalaika because we're probably going to hear it a lot in the upcoming weeks as the family are here in the arena.
One fall on the way to the ring, accompanied by Matt Kintyre at a combined weight of 380 pounds. The
And before we get into the meat of this matchup, Jack, let's talk about some of the fallout from FWE Infinity War Games. The family victorious inside of the double steel cage structure, meaning that now their demands prior to the PLE are going to have to be met. Anthony McRae, Cole Eastwood, they're eventually going to get a tag team title shot. Matt McIntyre is eventually going to get a United States Championship matchup. And their leader, Michael Norman, at some point is going to be fighting for the Tri-Wizard Championship.
And I have to imagine they'll be keeping an eye on our main event tonight when the title is on the line, the United States Championship, of course. So I'll be very curious to see if that has any impact on what the family's plans are going forward.
and their opponents. First, a Quinn, representing the inmates from wherever he wants, weighing in at 160 pounds, the Jester Jack.
Well, the Joker is a big reason why this matchup is taking place here tonight. There was an opportunity in the go-home show for Infinity War Games where basically the Easter Bunny, Santa Claus, Joker, and Penguin had to defeat the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for the family to have the man advantage inside the War Games main event match. They didn't get it done, and Joker had an opportunity to break up the pinfall, but he was a second too late. Because of that, the family are looking for a little bit of justice here tonight against the Gotham inmates.
I think it just tells you how ruthless the family truly is because, you know, they still, even though they didn't get the man advantage, they still won the War Games matchup. So you would think maybe in some cases,
The inmates from the other side of darkness,
Mike Rome here.
weighing in at 240 pounds, Osborne Cobb.
Anyway, as I was saying, the family would think maybe sometimes they could be willing to let bygones be bygones because they still won the War Games matchup. But at the end of the day, that is ultimately not the case. They're basically saying by having this matchup in the first place, they're saying you guys cost us and now you're going to pay the price.
Want to make a clarification on what I was talking about as far as the future title matches that the members of the family will get. It's not going to be a situation where, you know, a matchup will take place and then they say, I want my matchup right here, right now. They will have to actually declare within a week prior of an event or a weekly episodic show that they want to fight for said title. They aren't able to do any last minute shenanigans here, but here we go. Anthony McCrory, who, you know, let's be honest. Let's call a spade a spade. He was, in a sense, the MVP for the family. He was the first one in that cage match and found himself, even in the early going, in a 2-on-1 disadvantage. He did a great job of kind of keeping the tone there for the family to eventually, when all four members were inside of that ring, to be able to win at the end of the night. He was the endurance guy.
Indeed, and that can be a very helpful thing to have in War Games. His shoulders are down for the Joker, but he kicks out at 2.
Anthony McCrory, Cole Eastwood, of course, they were basically the introduction to the family's appearance here on FWE. It's back at Sugar Rush after Dylan Young retained the Tri-Wizard Championship. Anthony and Cole attacked him post-match. We would eventually see them flanking Michael Norman later on that night in the Intercontinental Championship match, along with Matt McIntyre, who's lurking out there outside the ring. Keep an eye on him.
Some big kicks, elbows, knees from Anthony McCrory to the Joker. And you saw the graphic earlier, August 7th. That's our Royal Brawl Premium Live event. 30 men, 30 women going to take part in our Royal Brawl matchups. The winners getting guaranteed title shots.
Anthony now working on that's kind of more the shoulder region. I think that would be impacting. As you see, referee Ernest Wright, Anthony with a cover over there. Referee Ernest Wright. So right there, that actually hurt the family. That top turnbuckle was actually exposed by Matt McIntyre a little while ago, and while the referee was fixing it, Anthony had a cover. Now referee Ernest Wright does see that cover, and it's a kick out at 2, but that little mistake there might have actually cost the family of putting this one away early.
Joker went for the tag, so Penguin is now the legal man. He's going to reverse that. Joker's got to get out of the ring quickly, though.
Yeah, he finally does exit there. You don't want to end up having the referee hit 5 when he's still in the ring as the ineligible man. Otherwise, it would end up being a disqualification as Again, you see Matt McIntyre up there exposing that turnbuckle. I've actually noticed this isn't a face versus heel tag team matchup. It's basically heel versus heel. And I've been noticing that Harley Quinn on the other side's fighting fire with fire. She's exposed the top turnbuckle over in their corner.
Yeah, both teams have an extra member ringside, so that just makes you wonder. As now you can see Harley was distracting McCreary there. He lined up on the ropes.
Boy, big shots. I couldn't tell if that was maybe to Anthony's face or if he was able to get his elbows to block it, but no blocking that boot, and Joker gonna wipe out both members of the family.
Joker not making friends with the family so far, as he was slow to break up the pin in the go home show, cost him the advantage, and now he's just, well, he was asserting some dominance in this matchup, but there you see the family getting right back to work as Anthony McCreary tossed him into the corner of the barricade.
Here's the thing too, I mean, this is kind of like a wrestling version of vigilante justice, just based off of what the family is doing here, trying to exact a little bit of revenge. But let's say, as a big back fist there by Joker, let's say that Anthony and Cole don't win this matchup. Let's say that Joker and Penguin end up winning with, technically, I'll put this in air quotes, Cole and Anthony, the future #1 contenders for the tag titles. If Joker and Penguin pick up a victory against them here tonight, does that throw them immediately into the tag team title picture as well?
It's a good question. It's as the tag team titles are on the line tonight too, so I mean anything can change at a moment's notice. As the shoulders down and a quick kick out by McCreary. Have not seen a whole lot of Cole Eastwood in this matchup so far.
This is, I think, the first time we're really seeing Penguin as well. For the most part, it's been Anthony and Joker. Now we see the power of Oswald Cobblepot on display with a big slam, bringing Anthony away from the ropes. Not to
Our
go
referee,
for a pin,
Ernest
however.
Wright, is again. Ernest Wright was checking. He's checking the turnbuckle again. So you see another exposed turnbuckle in the other corner.
As soon as he puts the turnbuckle pad on, Matt takes it off again. Referee Ernest Wright might as well just throw up his hands and not even worry about that. Big reverse heel kick there by Joker. Penguin back in. And to your point, we have not seen Cole Eastwood in this matchup at all.
Joker's got to get out of the ring.
Penguin and Joker have done a great job of splitting this ring, not allowing Anthony to get over there and make a tag. Penguin deadlifts Anthony up and down with the slam.
At some point, you have to wonder, does he start to consider going for the tag? I think he's been busted open on the forehead.
I believe it was that knee that may have opened Anthony up just above the hairline. There's a big splash there, and Anthony able to power out at about 1.5.
There's the tag. You saw both members who were not legal try to enter the matchup and do something about that pinfall.
Oh, big punch there by Joker. And hold on. Joker might be setting up for something here. Looking for the reverse GTS. McCreary is down. Cover is in. And Joker is going to pick up the victory for the Gotham inmates. The family will not exact the revenge they were hoping for.
And I just wonder, is that going to cause some discourse in the family? Because Cole Eastwood was never once tagged into that matchup. You got to think, maybe is he going to be a little bit frustrated that he never got to get a chance to get involved in this?
One can only wonder. Would love to be a fly on the wall backstage when Anthony and Cole make their way back there to the rest of the family members. But up next, it's the first of 2 title matches. Tag team titles on the line in a rematch. Welcome you back here to FWE, getting ready for a matchup that's a result of a fallout from what took place last week at Infinity War Games.
Vicious and Delicious, of course, getting this title opportunity tonight at the Men's Disney Tag Team Championships after RJ Bishop was victorious over Kronk. He called out Kronk in a challenge. Let's have a one-on-one at the PLE. The stipulation was that if RJ won, this matchup for the titles would take place. So, chance for Vicious and Delicious to get gold back around their waist once again.
Big opportunity for them to make some history as well. Currently, Vicious and Delicious, the only multi-time tag team champions. Everybody else that have held the title belts have only had one reign. This is an opportunity here. If they're successful tonight, they would be 3-time Disney Men's World Tag Team Champions. Kronk and Kuzco. Of course, Kuzco, you know him very well. Two of you have squared off in the last month a couple of times with that Wayfinder Cruiser title on the line. Kuzco definitely wants to keep a belt around his waist. You got to think that he's very motivated here. And you know, we were talking in that last matchup about potential discord. What about the discord that there might have been when Kronk lost the match and Kuzco found out that here tonight he was going to have to defend the tag team titles?
Could very well be a possibility. I think Kuzco is happy that he at least got to hold on to one title.
There's the title belts on the line. We'll send it down to our ring announcer, Mike Rowe.
The following contest is a tag team match set for one fall and is for the Men's Superstars Tag Team Championship. Introducing the challengers at a combined weight of 449 pounds, Vicious and Delicious. And their opponents at a combined weight of 389 pounds, the Men's Superstars Tag Team Champions, Too Cool.
Men's tag team titles on the line here. Champions advantage, just a straight up tag team match. No tornado style rules, no special little gimmicks. So the champions would have the advantage here. They would retain on a count out or a disqualification. As how about this? The two that squared off 1 week ago at Infinity War Games gonna start this title match.
That feels intentional. RJ's going to take Kronk right into the same corner. Immediately tags Nick Gunther in.
Flying shoulder tackle assisted there by RJ Bishop. Now Nick Gunther going to go to work on the arms of the powerhouse of the team.
I think with a cheap shot on Kuzco as well.
Big suplex there, kind of a half Nelson suplex. And a kick out there by Kronk.
Ernest Wright, I believe, is hoping that there's a lot less turnbuckle pad removal in this matchup. Saw that happen a lot during that last tag team match.
Definitely did. We saw
Oh,
the Gotham
that's so
inmates able to beat the family. Nick Gunther had to get out of the ring. Now he will. Oh, and RJ Bishop, cheap shot there on Kuzco.
Not sure what RJ's doing other than showboating there.
Looks like Nick's going to be the one to get Kronk back in the ring. Well, never mind. Little reversal there. Remember, the challengers can't win the titles on a countout. Now Kronk back between the ropes, so the match will continue. Referee's count ends in a nice fall-away slam there by Kronk.
Big right hook there by RJ to counter that. The momentum back on his side as he goes for the back suplex.
Kronk. Yeah, so I'm crawling towards his corner. He will get the hot tag to Cusco. And now the two individuals that had really absolutely nothing to do with setting up this tag team matchup now squaring off. Nice move there. That was an interesting suplex by Cusco, very innovative, but now Nick gonna do a little creativity of his own on the outside with a back body drop, easy for me to say, on the ring apron there.
Right on the apron, no give whatsoever. That's gonna be pretty painful to the back.
Referee at a count of 4. Gotta be aware, especially if you're the challengers, about that count. Referee in straight at a count of 6. Gotta get him back in the ring, which Nick will do.
Tag is made.
Nice suplex there, lower back of Kronk into that bottom turnbuckle.
You're Cusco. I think you were pretty happy with that ringside interaction taking as long as it did because, again, you don't lose the title on a count out. So we'll see if that wore out Nick Gunther just a little bit as he counters whatever Kronk was looking for. And another reversal by Kronk. These teams going back and forth. They kind of reading each other's books so far.
Two powerhouses of the respective teams right now with Gunther and Kronk. Pretty even right now in terms of momentum. Not sure you can really see one over the other in terms of what's going on right there. There's a brain buster though. That could turn the momentum around. I was gonna say, it looked like Nick was gonna go over for a tag, was kind of contemplating whether he wanted to follow up, but he will tag in RJ Bishop, who hits a nice kick there. And again, as you see, July 10th, the Fairly Odd Partners challenges. Big move there by RJ Bishop and broken up by Cusco. We can tell you that there are 2 members of this match that are taking part. RJ Bishop going to be teaming up with Evil Queen, and we also know that Kronk will be teaming up with Yzma. I'm not sure anybody would want to team up with Yzma, but there it is.
That's an interesting one, to say the least. But you'll see some tag teams in that matchup that are probably a bit more unexpected, I'll say, for lack of a better term.
I mean, RJ and Evil Queen, who had that one who had that one scouted? Not me. That's really random.
You think that's random? Just wait and see what I've got in store for that.
Oh boy.
More on that later, but in the meantime, it's just delicious trying to recapture those Disney tag team titles.
Big clothesline there by Kronk. Takes Nick down. And now might be looking for the sidewalk slam. No cover.
Nick got up immediately. He's going to send his opponent ringside.
Tag made to RJ Bishop. RJ again going to dispose of Cusco to the outside. Smart.
He's got to get his opponent back in the ring, though. This interaction ringside cannot last forever. And interesting decision by Kronk there, tossing his opponent back into the ring, and now he gets speared again to the outside.
I don't get it with showboating, and more often than not, you pay the price for it. I think Nick was going for the float over DDT. Kronk had it scouted. Fights out of it. And now hits the scoop power slam.
Looks for the tag.
Gunther still down. Cusco.
Couldn't help showboating a little bit, but Gunther wasn't really making any moves to get up.
Knee to the gut. Crumples Nick down in a heap. And now Cusco might be getting ready to fly.
It's the elbow on the way down.
Pointed the elbow right to the top of Nick's head. Again, referee Ernest Wright with the count. Been just about as much action on the outside as there has been inside the squared circle as Nick with a suplex there. Not even utilizing a hook of an arm or anything. He just basically had a vice grip on Cusco's head and threw him halfway across the arena.
Cusco is being smart here. Again, you don't lose the title on a countout, and he's making sure this interaction is prolonged ringside. Referee's about to be on a count of 8.
Champions retain on a countout. Cusco knows this. Back inside of the ring. Nick Gunther also gonna get in, as the referee was just at a count of 9, and now Cusco gonna try and take RJ out of the picture. Double arm suplex by Nick Gunther on the outside, and again another count.
Sent right into the ring post by Gunther. We're going back and forth here.
Nick gonna take out Kronk.
Kronk's to the floor. I mean, these guys, they're aware of the tag team partners. What a move.
There's that half Nelson suplex again. Gunther might be out. Cusco does not go for the cover. Instead, he's going to go for the crossface. Center of the ring. Crossface submission locked in.
The rope is right there.
Gonna tap? Is Gunther going to tap? He's trying to break the hold, and I think he just barely did.
I think RJ Bishop may have tried to do something to break that pin up, but it looks like he didn't quite land the attack he was looking for.
Flying
Big clothesline.
Man. Could this be 3-time champions? No!
About as close to a 2.9 kick out as you'll ever see from Cusco.
The fans here in Albany, New York know that they are witnessing a classic, showing their appreciations. Tag in, double team on Cusco, double shoulder tackle.
They
and
want to
RJ
go for
is
more.
fired up.
Gunther has to get out of the ring though. Springboard missile drop kick connects. Shoulders are down in the corner.
Wrong part of town. Kronk did not go to break it up. Fortunately, Cusco was able to fight out of that pinning predicament.
You can't stay focused on Kronk though if you're RJ.
RJ with the Hurricane Rana tags Nick back in. This thing has been back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. But
It's a
still, the title's hanging in the balance.
It's a good tag team title fight. Both teams going back and forth, trading the momentum. There's action inside the ring, action outside the ring. These teams are coming really close as theirs. I believe, I thought he was going to go for maybe a sharpshooter attempt or something there. Instead, it's just a foot to the back.
Grapevine stomp, cover in to win the titles for a 3rd time. And this time, Cusco senses the urgency and breaks it up.
Both
RJ,
illegal men are in the ring.
RJ coming up to intercept this. Oh, wait a minute. We might be looking for the Philadelphia elbow. Is that going to be enough to win the tag team titles? And a kick out again. I thought that was it.
I was hearing some ringside action going on, I think right in front of our commentary table, but man, another kick out. These teams,
Cusco just delivered RJ to the steel steps.
he did.
RJ is down and out. Nick's now in a 2v1 in a sense. Kronk's down. Nick looking to take out Cusco on the outside.
A good strategy by Nick, actually. Both men were down. He saw an opportunity to go for the tag team partner of his opponent and make it a one-on-one. But RJ now back up to his feet.
Kronk with a back elbow. Cusco still down for the time being. Looking for end of days is Kronk to retain the titles. Could this be it? Referee counts 3. Title retention for Cusco and Kronk. But what a barn burner of a tag team matchup.
That was one of the most incredible back and forth tag team battles I have ever seen. But a massive end of days by Kronk, and still your Disney Tag Team Champions.
Kronk and Cusco keep the titles. RJ's match with Kronk in vain, as Vicious and Delicious unable to reclaim the gold for a 3rd time. But we've got another title match coming up in our main event.
following contest is scheduled for one fall and is for the United States Championship.
Well, this crowd's still buzzing after the tag team title match that just wrapped up moments ago, but now the United States Championship on the line. Number one contender established last week at FWE Infinity War Games in a backstage brawl. Hercules emerged victorious, and he will look to claim his first singles title here in FWE.
And it was not easy for Hercules to win that backstage brawl. He took on Paul Bunyan, the Easter Bunny, and Thanos. We advertised that matchup as a monster brawl, and that's basically the reason why. And I just have to wonder, is Gaston maybe a little bit worried that his contender in this matchup, his challenger in this matchup, was able to survive such a grueling fight?
I have to wonder, we're only a week removed from that matchup. Is Hercules at 100%?
They were fighting in a really dangerous environment. There were bodies flying in the concrete into steel grates. All kinds of weapons involved in that matchup. I mean, I'm honestly even amazed that Hercules is standing here right now.
Well, Gaston, the champion, he has had, needless to say, a stranglehold on that United States Championship. I can't remember exactly which episode of FWE it was, but I know it was before Fantasia. He won the U.S. title from Nick Gunther. He has not let go of it since. He has turned back every single challenger. This may be his toughest fight yet with Hercules, but we'll have to see. Gaston's cocky. He's got an ego. There's no doubt about it, but when he gets in the ring and the title's on the line, he's got the physicality to back it up.
Absolutely. And I think it was before FWE was even a weekly show that he won that title. I believe it was some kind of Eliminator Gauntlet match. He really just had, like you said, he's had a stranglehold on that title belt ever since.
Well, we know he's going to try and stop the momentum of Hercules here tonight. We also know that at some point, whether it be Hercules or Gaston that walks out of tonight's FWE episode with the United States Championship, at some point they're gonna be facing Matt McIntyre as we go down ringside.
Introducing the challenger from Mount Olympus, weighing in at 270 pounds, Wonder Boy! And his opponent from Paris, France, weighing in at 240 pounds, the United States Champion, the
Gaston, nicknamed the Axe, and that's an appropriate name as he has cut down every challenger that has stepped up to him for that United States Championship. But you know, you kind of look at the previous challenges, and I don't know if Gaston has necessarily gone into a title defense, at least on paper, at a disadvantage. You look at the size of the two individuals here, there is a slight advantage to Hercules.
I think if you can fight tactically enough, though, you'll be able to find a way to win the matchup. As right there already, you see a big shot to the head from Gaston. And I can only wonder, Matt McIntyre is watching this matchup backstage, or if he's busy dealing right now with the repercussions of what happened earlier tonight. The family unable to defeat Joker and the Penguin in that grudge matchup that we saw.
Great point, and yeah, to what you said there with Matt McIntyre, you know, maybe keeping at least one eye on this matchup. Again, for the members of the family, they have to call their shot at least a week before their respective title matches, and so for Matt McIntyre, I don't know, maybe he'd be wanting to bide his time depending on who's walking out of here as the United States champion. Maybe even if Hercules ends up winning the title, he may end up still waiting until there's a different person holding that title belt. I mean, Matt doesn't have to make a decision for a long time. He's got that ironclad stipulation. Is Hercules there with a chair, and I'm guessing there's no disqualifications here. Otherwise, I think we would have had a bell.
Yeah, I'm not too sure why there wasn't a bell there, but we've got a cover now and a quick kick out.
I'm going to have to assume there's no disqualifications in this. Referee Mike Rowe did not announce this as an Extreme Rules match or anything, so maybe there was some added stipulation that we weren't made aware of, but maybe too, I don't know. Maybe referee Ernest Wright doesn't want the title to change on it, or to the title be decided on disqualification. I don't know exactly what the situation is, but if Hercules can use a chair, that kind of opens up the door for what both of these individuals can do in this title match now.
And it's something to keep in the back of your mind.
Power on display there by Hercules, delivering the lower back of Gaston into the turnbuckles, again into the top turnbuckle, and then just flings Gaston halfway across the ring, cover in to gain the United States title, and a kick out at one by Gaston, who as well has been busted open. Maybe that kind of evens it up, whatever the wear and tear of that backstage brawl did to Hercules. Now with Gaston busted open, maybe that levels the playing field a bit, as it's a brawl here tonight for the United States title. You saw right there, come this August, it is the FWE Royal Brawl PLE. Royal Rumble matches for both the men and the women's side. A few of the main titles will be on the line as well, but the main focus is going to be on those Royal Rumble matches where the winners will end up getting guaranteed title shots in the main event at FWE Paramount. I'm going to assume there's no disqualifications here, because weaponry afoot, kendo stick just went flying almost into the crowd there. Everybody's had to keep their head on a swivel. We had to duck a ladder earlier on tonight. We've got weapons flying around here in our main event.
We've got people being tossed into steel steps. I haven't even noticed a count out, so I guess this is basically an Extreme Rules match. I'm going to assume it's not false count anywhere, though. I'm going to assume that the cover has to take place inside the ring.
Well, we're seeing referee Ernest Wright still in the ring, so I think you'd be correct in that. As Hercules sends Gaston over to the other side.
Tossing him back into the ring now.
To my knowledge, I don't think we've seen, hold that thought, Hercules. Oh, he's got the hurt lock submission, full Nelson submission, ragdolling Gaston. Is Gaston gonna tap out? Is he gonna pass out maybe?
Looks like he's able to break it up, or maybe it was let go by Hercules. And a big forearm by Gaston. And now the kicks. Reversing the momentum.
I was gonna mention the fact Gaston has never been in a no disqualification street fight type matchup defending his title. It's pretty much been normal one-on-ones. As a nice Arn Anderson spinebuster there by Gaston, looking to retain the title. And Hercules is going to get the shoulder up, but Hercules is just coming off a backstage brawl, so that kind of an environment, he's used to it just recently.
I wouldn't exactly put it past Gaston, though, to thrive in this type of matchup. Even if Hercules may be a bit more experienced, I feel like Gaston is built for a challenge like this, especially with how much of an iron grip he's been using. He's been holding on to that championship with as he goes to work on that kendo stick.
I believe that kendo stick, that first shot may have lacerated Hercules, so now both individuals are bleeding.
Oh, I'm not sure if Hercules was maybe winding up for something there, but he gets knocked down pretty quickly by Gaston.
One of the biggest things with both of these individuals now lacerated is vision. Vision becomes a big problem. That blood goes down to your eyes. clouds your vision, it stings. But we've also heard that it can be very motivating as well. You see red and it kind of puts you to a new level in terms of physicality as Gaston with some cruel intentions on the outside.
Going for the power bomb. And it connects, but he's got to get his opponent back in the ring now. But of course, he's going to show off a little bit too.
Hercules has that chest protector. I don't think that's going to do much in terms of the impact on the outside. Got that red carpet out there, concrete flooring underneath. It hurts bad enough to take that bump inside of the ring on the boards, but on the outside of the ring, it's even worse because there's very little give.
Look out, another kendo stick. Oh, and Hercules gets up quick, doesn't even give Gaston a chance to use it.
Just ran him over, did Hercules, and now a little showboating from Wonder Boy. Referee Ernest Wright waiting patiently for the match to come back inside the ring, which it now does. And the question now is how much damage was inflicted on the outside?
Oh.
Big lariat clothesline by Gaston. Is that going to be it? Yes, it will.
My goodness, Gaston with a huge lariat there to hold on to the title again. He's had an iron grip on that thing since before this was a weekly show.
Just took one big move, and that was gigantic.
That was all it took from Gaston, and now there's only really one man that can threaten to stand in his way at this point.
That would be Matt McIntyre. Well, thank you all for joining us as we draw closer to Fairly Odd Partners. We'll see you next week.